Hi everyone, my name is David Rao and I'm the music teacher who blogs at makemomentsmatter.org. You can also find my ideas on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and a variety of other places when you search for my name or Make Moments Matter Music Education. I'm so excited that you decided to spend your Monday night with me and to talk about music education. I love talking about music education, and so I'm just so happy that you decided to come and to share lessons and talk. Thanks to everyone who leaves comments and questions in the feed as we go along. I always try and after the video's over to try and go back and comment on those or answer questions, and I also try and answer them as I can, reading them as they pop up, but sometimes that's a little difficult to do. So thanks to everyone who leaves those questions and comments on other people's questions and takes the time to do that. It's really nice that you're spending your night with me and commenting with other people. So a couple quick things. If you want, as I'm talking, I might say it's on the links page. When I'm talking about that, I have a page on my blog, which is makemomentsmatter.org. And if you click the tab that says video, there's a drop down and you should be able to find a page called Musical Mondays Recap 2019-2020, and when you click on that, it should have week 6 and all the links about the puppets and the books and the things that I'm talking about. So if you hear me say, oh, that's on the links page, or I'll add that to the links page, what I mean is go to my blog, makemomentsmatter.org, click videos tab, and then you'll find that links page there. Or it's actually linked in the comments for this Facebook video and also linked on Instagram on my links and profile. You can find that there. Also, if you want to keep talking after this video is finished, I have a Facebook group called Every Moment Matters Music Education Community. You can join that group and continue on in a conversation. I commented on a couple threads just this afternoon. Some really great questions, really great discussions about things that are going on in the music education world, or maybe just in your classroom that you want to talk about and collaborate with other music teachers. So if you are in the Little Rock, Arkansas area this weekend, we can meet and be like real life friends, not just like friends through the internet. I'm going to be at the Central Arkansas ORF Chapter Workshop this Saturday. I think it's 8 to 2:30, something like that. And you can join us. You can be a part of that chapter if you're in the area. We'd love to have you there. You can find links to that event and information about that on the links page, or you can send me a direct message if you're interested. But like I said, if you're in the Little Rock area, we would love to have you for the Central Arkansas ORF chapter. I'm really excited to share some lessons and ideas this weekend. And some puppets. There are going to be some puppets. It's going to be a good time. One final thing before I jump into lesson plans, I am not going to be back next Monday. Next Monday is a bye if you're a sports person. It's an off week because next Monday is my fall break, and I am flying to Decorah, Iowa to be with my sister and brother-in-law and my 2 nephews. And so I'm going to be either on a plane or in a car on my way to Decorah, Iowa. So I will not be here next Monday, but I hope to see you in 2 weeks on September 30th. I'll be back to the normal schedule. I just won't be here next week, but it'll be a time to refresh and have fun and enjoy the Midwestern air. So I'm not sorry that I'm going to be missing it, but I will see you in 2 weeks. Okay, so that's the quick rundown. Those are all my notes. And let me now just jump into my lesson plans. So the plan today is to do a quick run through all of my K-5 lesson plans to just give you sort of an outline idea of what's going on, and then do a deep dive into my kindergarten lessons. So if I breeze through something in one of the other lessons in 1st grade or 3rd grade and you say, I want to know more about that, I maybe talked about it on the previous week, or I might have a chance to talk about it later, but because it's not what I'm focusing on this week, I'm going to sort of just breeze through these other lessons. And actually, I'm not going to talk about kindergarten first. I'm going to start with 1st because I'm going to come back to kindergarten in just a second. So let's run through. So 1st grade, we're used to coming in, making our circle. We do the copycat poem, which I've talked about in other weeks, and I will jump into depth in kindergarten. So if you're like, what's copycat? I'll get to that in just a second. But we do the copycat. I do a spoken back and forth. Hello, Jeremy. Hello, Mr. Rao. Hello, Jaden. Hello, Mr. Rao. Hello, Aaliyah. Hello, Mr. Rao. And that's my attendance. In 2nd grade, we jump into hello, Aaliyah, hello, Mr. Rao. But for 1st grade, we're still just getting back into the groove, so we do a spoken. I say hello to them, they say hello back. we start the Grizzly Bear, Oh Grizzly Bear song this week. So what I really only had time for was to teach the song. So if you don't know that song, it goes, Grizzly Bear, oh Grizzly Bear was sleeping in a cave. Please be very quiet, very, very quiet. If you wake him, if you shake him, he'll get very mad. And they get to be loud on that last word. It's a super, super fun song, and there is a circle game that goes with it, but we don't learn it in this lesson because we just don't have time. I've shared about that before, and I think on the links from last year I have that linked, but if you're curious about that, let me know and I will send that to you. We learned Hop Old Squirrel in the last lesson, and our friend Skippy the squirrel came out and talked to the kids about the about skipping and hopping and doing whatever, and we sang the song and we did movements. And one of the things that we did last week was we focused on movement words. And I have a whole movement word wall in my room, and this is not even close to all of it. But if my computer will turn on, in my room I have locomotor and I'll see if I can zoom in on this for Instagram and Facebook, sorry. I have locomotor and non-locomotor movement words. They're color-coded, so all of the movement words are yellow and all the locomotor words are yellow, the non-locomotor words are green. And then I have a couple different words in the middle that could be one or could be the other depending on how you do it. You could make it locomotor, you could make it non-locomotor, right? So what we do with this in the previous lesson was we sang through, we did a lot of different versions. I talked with them about locomotor and non-locomotor, and I gave them examples. We did some locomotor, we did some non-locomotor. The end, it was fun. This week, we come back to this, we sing the song again, and I let kids come up with examples of their favorite words that we could do. So instead of hop old squirrel, idle dum, hop old squirrel, idle dum dum, hop old squirrel, idle dum, hop old squirrel, idle dum dee. Instead of doing that, I let the kids choose. And so the kids might choose prance old squirrel, idle dum, prance old squirrel, idle dum dum. Or they might choose chop old squirrel, idle dum, chop old squirrel, idle dum dum. I have a lot of words on the word wall, and so they can either pull from those words or words that they know that they think would be fun. I don't really say at first, you must do locomotor, you must do non-locomotor or whatever, but I say, if you want to look at the wall, if you want to choose a word from the wall, you can. It's okay. That's why the wall's there. And so what I find is that a lot of kids will look at the wall. They'll go over and actually on purpose use the wall the way the wall is meant to be used. They'll use it as a word wall, and they'll use it as a way to get an idea. And some kids, this is really cool, some kids who are normally very quiet will raise their hand and will walk over and look and point. Or maybe they'll walk over and look and say like, I see this one, can you help me read it or whatever. And so having that up there, even if it's the quietest kid who doesn't normally give an answer, you could say, hey, Margaret, would you go up and choose a word, and I'll read it for you if you want, but you get to choose. And they can go up and point, and then whatever word they choose, that's a correct answer because it came from the word bank. So that's up on the wall for all my kids to just see and use. And really, the first graders are using it correctly. They went up, they identified, they found words. Sometimes it's just words that they know they can read. Walk, skip, great. But sometimes the more adventurous kids will go with like, prance, or they'll choose a word that's up there, jiggle, that they can read or that they can sound out and they think will be fun. So that's sort of cool, the way kids are choosing different things. One of the things Skippy helps me with, Skippy is like, if I'm Sherlock Holmes, he's Watson. You know how like Watson in the story of Sherlock Holmes was there to ask like the dumb questions, to like explain it to all the readers. Like Sherlock understands, but Watson is like us in the situation. So in Sherlock Holmes, Watson's there to help translate. Well, Skippy's there to help me figure that, like be the intermediary with me and kids and ask like dumb questions that maybe kids would want to ask but don't feel comfortable asking. So Skippy will ask them. So for example, when we go up, I say, well then here, all these words, these are the locomotor words, and locomotor means you're moving from one place to a new place. You're moving through the room. You're not staying in your bubble spot. You're moving to a new bubble spot. And I say it in about 4 or 5 different ways that give them the idea, and I demonstrate to show that we're moving to a new place. And then Skippy says, I know. The other word is not locomotor. No, it's not locomotor. It's non-locomotor. Not locomotor. Right. No, non-locomotor. Not locomotor. No, Skippy, you have to say non-locomotor. Non-locomotor. What does that mean? Well, it means not locomotor. That's what I said! Not locomotor. But you can say non-locomotor. It means the same thing. Right. So Skippy's there to be like, oh yeah, because most of the kids will say not locomotor, and then to give them that chance to say like, oh, non-locomotor means not locomotor. It's stationary. It means you're not moving through a new space in the room. Your body is moving, but your feet aren't leaving your space. And so Skippy's a way to sort of jump in there and do that like silly explanation for the kids. And I really think that's so much fun because again, he can ask questions that the kids maybe aren't willing to ask, or he can iron out some of those problems. He could demonstrate wrong. Like I could say, Skippy, show us a non-locomotor movement. Okay. No, Skippy, that's locomotor. You're moving to a new place. What? Yeah, non-locomotor means you're staying in one place, but you're not moving. Okay, I'll try again. No. You're moving to a new place. What? And so Skippy can make the mistake. And then the kids aren't making a mistake. The kids aren't fouling up. But I can still like correctly like, Skippy, here, if you're moving in your place, that's non-locomotor. So Skippy can take that role. It's another one of those reasons I love using puppets in my classroom, because they can take on those different jobs that maybe we can't always do. Okay, so I was longer on Hop Old Squirrel than I thought I was going to do. But so Hop Old Squirrel, it's really a fun, quick song. The kids get to choose. I accompany on the ukulele as we sing, and the kids get to sing and move and do their thing, which is fun. And then, actually, one thing I meant to bring up before, but I forgot. When kids are doing this complex stuff, you know, they're coming up with new words, they're moving, sometimes they're singing, sometimes they're not. For me, in this activity, it's okay if they don't sing, because there are like so many other processes going through their head. They need to stay in their own personal space as they move. They need to follow the directions of how to move. Sometimes kids are coming up with words. You know, it's tricky. And so for me in this moment with this class, it's enough that they don't, it's enough that they're doing the action. If they're not singing, that's okay for this activity. I remember the first couple years I was teaching, I thought in my head, if kids aren't singing, then I'm not doing it right. Like the kids need to be singing all the songs. Well, maybe, but not. I don't think that anymore. The kids, there are sometimes when kids aren't singing, but they are actively making music in a very effective way. And them not singing doesn't mean that they've failed or I failed. It's just that for this particular song, the singing is not as important as some of the other stuff. Anyway, again, off topic. But one of the things, if I see kids singing, or if I see kids doing a really great job in any part of the lesson, or if I need a little bit of reinforcement of like, oh, look who's sitting crisscross applesauce and listening to the teacher, I have a lot of little incentives around the room. I have stickers. I have, you know, go play an instrument. I have, you can go sit with my puppet. I mean, there are a lot of things they can do. One of the ones that is very popular, and I've shared about this last year, are these bubbles. This is honestly just bubble wrap on some foam core. It's hanging on the wall. It's pretty big actually, but it's hanging on the wall. And these are the big bubbles, like the nice packing bubbles. I used to call them perfect people poppers. Now I say they're pop stars. You can go pop a bubble. And so if a kid does a really great job, I say, go pop a bubble and we're going to clap for you because you're a pop star. And they got to go up and they got to go. They pop. We'll clap for them. Sorry, that just scared my dog a little bit. But when they pop the bubble, we get a clap for them and then they got to go back to their spot and that's it. But what kid doesn't like popping bubbles? Like I have adults come in the room and they're like, can I pop a bubble? I was like, if you want, yeah. And the bubble wrap is pretty inexpensive. If you know anybody who has a retail job or has anything to do with like a job where they get things shipped to them, they might get all this bubble wrap wrapped around stuff all the time. You can get it for free from them. You can buy it from Walmart or UPS. But the pop stars are really effective and kids love popping them. So think about a place where you can put pop stars in your room because the kids love being able to go up and pop a bubble. But that's something I incorporate with first grade in this lesson as I'm reinforcing good behavior. They get to go up and pop bubbles. So we do Hop Old Squirrel, and then we do a song called Matilda the Gorilla, and Matilda fell over here. I do not have a gorilla puppet. It's so sad. But I do have this fun gorilla stuffed toy, and I found one on Amazon that maybe looks a little bit cuter that I'm tempted to get. But this gorilla is super fun, and Matilda is her name. Now, if you want, you can find different versions of Matilda the Gorilla on Spotify or on YouTube. There's also a version of Matilda the Gorilla in this book from Lynn Kleiner called Jungle Beat. And this has a couple cool versions. If you have the CD, there's a couple cool things you can do with this. But the Matilda the Gorilla, I don't know where exactly it came from originally. I think it's just like a preschool song. But what I have kids do is I say there are two parts to the song. And in the first part, Matilda, I'm going to sing and Matilda's going to keep the beat. And see if you can keep the steady beat with Matilda. So Matilda would be sitting on my lap. It's a little awkward to hold her up here, but so I get to sing, I have a pet gorilla. Her name, it was Matilda. Matilda liked to sing songs every day, and this is what Matilda the Gorilla would say. And then the next time I'll say, ooh, she's going to keep it in a different place. Watch this. And match her. The kids are keeping the beat along with her. I have a pet gorilla. Her name, it was a Matilda. Or maybe we'll do, I have a pet gorilla. Her name, it was Matilda. So Matilda, the the little stuffed animal, keeps the beat in different places. And on the verses, all the kids do is they're keeping a steady beat wherever Matilda is. Maybe Matilda does hands separate. I had a pet gorilla. Or maybe she goes, I had a pet gorilla. Or maybe like a gorilla, she does. I don't know. But you can do whatever you want. And then the the chorus goes, ooh, 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 ah, ah, ah. Ooh, 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 ah, ah, ah. Ooh, 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 ah, ah, ah. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah, ah. And the kids, of course, want to sing along with that. So on the verses, they pat the steady beat. And eventually we get up and we walk to the steady beat. And then they sing along on the chorus. It is a super, super wonderful favorite of theirs, and it is so simple. And again, it was one of those songs that I realized, like, there are 4 verses, and I could worry about the kids learning how to sing all 4 verses, or I could sing the verses, and they could focus on steady beat, and then they could sing along in the chorus, which is way more accessible for them. But there was a switch at some point where I was like, oh, it's okay if they're not singing. Yeah, it's okay if they're not singing. They're doing something else that's active and musical, and they're getting a lot out of it. So asking them to sing would be one more layer that would be just too difficult for these kids at this point in the year. So Matilda comes out. She does her thing. If there's time, we do head, shoulders, knees, and toes, and we eliminate a word every time. So shoulders, knees, and toes, and the next time. Knees and toes, knees and toes. We did that in the last lesson. They love taking 3 or 4 minutes to recap and do that again. And that's first grade. Sorry, that took longer than I thought. Second grade, they come in, we circle up, we do copycat, and I sing an attendance to them. So, hello, Susie. Hello, Mr. Owl. Hello, Jeremiah. Hello, Mr. Owl. Hello, Josue. Hello, Mr. Owl. And I sing to them, and they sing back. We do Little Sally Walker, which we did in the last lesson. We spent a lot of time learning that, and so what we do now is just we sing it and we play the game, which is really simple. I mentioned that in the last video about how I did that. Then we take some time and we do a dance called 7 Jumps, which is, there are a couple different places you can find it. I think you can find it in Phyllis Weichert resources. She was a really wonderful author for Movement for Children. I want to say it's in Shenanigans too, but I'm not exactly sure. But you can find versions of 7 Jumps in a couple different places. And really what it is the kids, with every verse, they do a couple little easy movements, and then they have to listen. And the way I do it is you have to hold one foot up, and then when you hear, it's like a 5 to 1. Bum, bum, bum. And when they hear the tonic, they have to put their foot down. And there are a bunch of fun versions. There are even some videos online that you can find of different teachers doing it different ways. I think I use the Phyllis Weichert recording, but I don't know if I do her exact version of it. But it's a really fun dance, and I actually don't start by teaching them the dance. I do sort of a finger play version of it. So I show them all the movements that they're going to do. And I stop there, and then I add other things. We stand up and we walk in place, and then dun, 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 and we actually turn around. But it starts for me as a finger play where I'm not having them do any of the movements. They're just sitting and watching me and mirroring my simple little actions. And I don't even get to the hold up your foot part because I want them to master the first part first, and then we'll add in the layering of different actions that come in with every verse. If you've done this song before, you know what those actions are, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't done it, check out the YouTube version or send me a direct message and I can help you find the resources for that. But the way that I do it maybe differently than other people is I don't jump right into the dance. I do that finger play first so that they can internalize all that action and get that A section down before I add in the layering of the movements. And then with our remaining time, we get to go to the note neighborhood for the very first time. Oh my gosh, and it's a life-changing moment because kids are, I'm going to zoom in here on my screen so I can show you. Kids get to see what has been on the wall, what we've been talking about forever. I wait until second grade to show this to them, to talk about quarter notes and eighth notes. I was at a workshop once where I was listening to Jill Trinka, and she said, if you see your kids lesson one time a week, you shouldn't be doing written notation like reading and identifying until second grade. And that made me feel really good because I was like, I don't have time. Like I see kids like about 20 times a year. There's so much movement and singing and doing that I want to do before we get to written notation. And so I was stressing out about it. So now I intentionally put it in second grade, which I think maybe kindergarten or first could deal with quarter notes and quarter rests and eighth notes, but second graders pick it up so fast. And in the second grade year, we learn quarter notes, eighth notes, quarter rests, and half notes and whole notes, all in second grade. And actually half rest too. So we learn a lot in second grade. It all sort of rushes in, but I don't do it until second grade because I see kids so infrequently. If I saw them more often, I would probably plan it out differently. But okay, so running through. So basically, I'm not showing you the whole thing, but I've gone through and cut out some slides just for the sake of the time tonight. But what I do with the note neighborhood in this story, in this version, is they get to meet the different notes. So, hi there, I'm Tommy, but most of my friends call me Ta. Welcome to my neighborhood. And he shows them his house, and he shows them, oh my gosh, have I shown you how I can hop? Oh my gosh, here's how I do it. Ta, 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 ta. And I point along, ta, 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 ta. We talk about, it looks like reading from left to right, and, he hops, and oh my gosh, how much fun, and he says his name. So kids get the idea of how to read just ta, right? So it's simple, and they get to do it again. Then he goes, and this is something I've added in the last year or two. You can call me Ta, but just know that some people call me by another name. They call me a quarter note. And I do this so that the kids aren't just seeing the little Ta in his hat. They're seeing him by himself because that's what they're going to see outside of the classroom is the quarter note. And so I make a point to show them that before we move on. You're doing a great job. Come on, let me show you my neighbors, introduce you to my neighbors. They go over to, well, in my version I use Taka, D, Me. There's another version of the note neighborhood that uses Ticka Ticka for the 16th note. So in that story, they wouldn't be going over to meet their friend Dion. They would be meeting the TT twins. But I use Taka, D, Me in my classroom, so they meet Ta, D. They meet Dion, who's the other half of Ta-D, and so they sort of go through, they talk about, oh my gosh, they're high-fiving, see, it looks like they're touching up there, it looks like their hands are connected, and we go through all of that, and they read a couple examples, Ta-D, 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 Ta. Ta-dee, ta, ta-dee, ta. So we go through and we try it, and then again I show them the different notes without the little costumes, without the hat, without the hair, and I show the eighth notes, we talk about that, we sort of quickly sort of run through that, and then we move on. Because in this first day, they meet quarter note, eighth notes and a ta rest. So then we go and we say, oh, watch out, we're going by this neighbor's house. I don't want you to meet her yet. Be careful going by here. And she goes, yoo-hoo! Oh, hello, are you new? Welcome to the neighborhood. Wait, are you walking by my house without saying hello? Are you walking by my house without saying hello? Are you walking away? And so then this is what prompts the rest. Ta says, is she gone? Did she go back inside? Shh, it's me, it's Ta. Do you recognize me? I'm in disguise. So he goes into this disguise so that the lady in the pink house doesn't recognize him. And he goes through, I'm sort of jumping through here, but he puts on his rest disguise. She's got these big glasses because she can't see very well, because she's old, but she can hear really well. So he scrunches himself up and he puts on his disguise, his rest disguise, and she can't figure out who he is. So when we see him like this, we know it's Ta, and we can say Ta, because it is just Ta, right, in his rest disguise. But instead of saying his name out loud, we say his name silently. And the kids love this because I say you can even shout his name, just don't let the sound out of your mouth. And so there are lots of kids who go like, and they shout silently. It's hilarious. Okay, so so they meet the Ta rest. We go through, we try a couple versions of that. Ta, ta, ta. And I don't have them say shh. I know some people do that, but I think that, a rest is silence, and so shh is not silence. So I don't add that in, but that's my personal preference. I just have them say the word ta, because they know that's a ta rest. I have them say ta just so silently that no sound comes out, because if the sassy neighbor heard, she'd go, wait, ta, where? And so we don't say ta loud, we just say it silently. Okay. So that's how the Ta rest works. We practice it with Ta D, and then of course I get to show them the Ta rest all by himself without his disguise on, and they can identify sort of what that looks like. And then before they leave, they actually get a chance to practice it. There is a practice page that has just the standard notation of just what a regular quarter note and eighth note would look like, and they get to practice reading a couple versions of that. And that's where it ends for the day, except I also say, you know what, here, look over at the vocabulary wall, and you're going to see right there, there's the note, a quarter note, and there's eighth notes, and there's the quarter rest. Oh, and there's some other neighbors around that we haven't met quite yet, but here they are on the vocabulary wall, and here they are on the bulletin board that says Note Neighborhood. And so we identify where those are in the room, and then I go, do you see a Ta or a Ta-D anywhere else in the room? And they're all over. They're on my building bricks. They're on the carpet. They're like in lots of different places. So they identify where those are. That this is in the last like 2 minutes of class. I say, oh, where else can you find it? And they're like the border of a bulletin board, or if my coffee mug had it that day, or whatever. And they can find them around the room. And that's fun for them because they have been seeing these symbols for a while. We haven't identified them or talked about them in class, and now we have. And so now I start getting all those notes from kids that are like, Mr. Ralph, thanks for being my music teacher, and then like 100,000 little like quarter notes. But it's fun, and it's I also think it's important in this first day to say Ta, also called a quarter note, or Ta-D, also called eighth notes. Even if I'm not going to use that terminology all the time, I want them to know it. I want them to be able to find it on the vocabulary wall. I want them to identify it. I want them to be able to, at sight, be able to know, like, I know what that is. Even if I don't remember I call that Ta-D, I know I've seen it before, and it's sort of fun for them to get to do that. Okay, so second grade, it's a banner day for them because they get to go to the Note Neighborhood, we get to do 7 jumps. It's like a great day. Third grade, in the last lesson, we did a song called Old Brass Wagon. We learned the first 3 verses, which is circle to the left, Old Brass Wagon, circle to the right, Old Brass Wagon, and in and out, Old Brass Wagon. In this lesson, we add 2 more verses. We add Swing Your Partner, Old Brass Wagon, and Do-Si-Do, Old Brass Wagon. The first time we did it, we were just learning the song, learning the basics, and that was enough. In this lesson, we're adding in partner stuff. Swing your partner. Oh my gosh, I have to be with a partner. Oh, what if it's a boy or a girl or whatever that I think is weird? Like, oh my gosh. Or what if it's that person that I don't get along with? So like there's all of that drama. So having already learned the song is great to have that just out of the way. Like, they know the song, so we can add in the swing your partner stuff. The Do-Si-Do, which is actually sort of difficult for them to understand at first, that's another thing that we add in, and that takes a good bit of time. We go back in the last lesson, we learned a song called the Grumpy March, which comes from the New England Dancing Masters. And I shared that in the last time I did a run through of lessons. And the Grumpy March, now they're good at it because they've done it a couple times, so they're a little bit better. We get a run through that. And with the remaining time, we do Sasha, which again, maybe you could do with a younger grade. We just haven't at this point. And I'm teaching it to them now. You might notice like, oh wait, Old Brass Wagon is a dancing song. The Grumpy March is a dance. Sasha's a dance. We're going to be doing a family folk dance night later on this school year, and third grade's the featured grade. So I'm trying to like load them up with dances because I know that the PE teacher and I are collaborating on it, and we haven't nailed down our exact list of things yet. So I'm just loading in all these things that they could easily be successful with to see how successful they are, because I want some of them, some of the dances at the family folk dance night, I want some of them to show their parents, and then some of them I want them to involve their parents. So the ones that they're really, really good at, that's one where they're going to go grab their parent and say, you're dancing, you're my partner, or whatever. And so the ones that they're not so good at, you know, we'll either fix it or whatever, but those will probably be the ones that we like show them, or it'll be a fun mix. If you've ever done a family folk dance night, I never have. Send me your programs of how you do it. Send me your list of favorite songs. I would love to see that, and I'd be happy to share that out with other people if you want. But I would love to see what you do for your family folk dance night, especially third grade or younger, because it'd be fun to compare. So if you do that, let me know. So that's third grade, dance, dance, dance. Fourth grade, this is another one where I'm sort of taking everything we did in the previous lesson and building on it. And what we did in the previous lesson, we did Farmer's Dairy Key, and we did Chicken on a Fence Post. So Farmer's Dairy Key, we spent maybe 15 minutes of that previous lesson actually learning it and figuring out and trying it. In this lesson, we're taking maybe 5 minutes, 7 minutes, so like half the time, and just running through it and doing it, and it's fun. There's a game part that we do there. In this last set of videos, I shared that there are 4 or 5 different ways you can do that song. And so the one that we did, which comes from Jeff Krisky and Randy DeLellis, the book is American's Apple Pie, we do that in my classroom. So they love to just run through it and play it as a game. So we do that. Chicken on a Fence Post, again, we learned a game last time. We learned the song last time. We learned how it all functions last time. So this time is a chance to practice it and try it. And the one thing I'm adding in now is that kids are accompanying on bass xylophones. So that is enough of work, adding them to do like a Bourdon pattern, to do a drone underneath while all the kids are dancing and moving. And when administrators walk in on this lesson, there are like 12 moving parts, like literally moving parts. Yes, there are a lot of layers to this lesson, and so it's worthwhile to just go through and do them and to build up, because my main goal is they're singing, they're moving, they're doing the concentric circles dance, but also we're getting experience on the instruments, and that's really important. So that's the thing that we added to this lesson that's different from the last time. And fifth grade is another one where we're taking what we did last time and we're making it more complex. So in the last lesson, they come in, they echo, that we do our thing. We do a little bit of rhythm reading. I've realized my fifth graders are not so good at reading rhythms. For some reason, this specific cohort is just, they're having issues. So in the last lesson, we read through some basic patterns that included quarter notes, eighth notes, quarter rests, half notes, half rests, and 16th notes. In this lesson, we do the same thing and we add body percussion. So instead of just ta, 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 dee, ta, we do ta, 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 dee, ta. And when we get to 16th notes, we change from claps to pats on our knees. So ta, dee, ta, taka, dee, dee, ta, or we might do ta, dee, ta, taka, dee, dee, ta. But we're patting, we're clapping, and that adds a layer of difficulty. Also in the last lesson, we learned a song called Shanghai Chicken with an egg passing set of patterns. And so what we do in this lesson is we take that idea and I break them, well, we rerun through it, what we know, and I break them into small groups and I let them come up with passing patterns based on a set of criteria. But I let them come up with some passing patterns that they can show at the end of class. And that's fun and difficult for them. And they can do it, and it's fun to see them do it. Okay, before I jump into kindergarten, I wanted to show you one super quick thing. Let's see if I can find it. So one super fun thing that I do, and I don't know where I put my visual. I guess I must have dropped it. One super quick thing that I do with the kids is in the last lesson we talked about, oh lordy, I definitely dropped it. Okay, one thing we talked about in the last lesson is we talk about, we're talking about dynamics. We identified them on the word wall. We found them. We found piano and forte on the wall. And so what we did in the last lesson, we talked about abbreviation. We talked about how sometimes composers will just write the letter F or, oh here it is, or the letter P to show forte and piano. So let me show you what I show them now. Ooh. So I actually pulled part of my word wall off the wall and brought it home to show you. So I know it's backwards, I'm so sorry, because of FaceTime cameras. But so we find on the wall, we find forte, we find piano. We'd have a tiny little brief talk about suffix and prefix, and that's something that they're working on in some of the grades, so they understand and can give me examples of a suffix and prefix. But we talk about, in Italian, if you add issimo to a word, and this is me as a non-Italian speaker, just sort of simplifying for kids so they understand the musical concept. I don't speak Italian, so do not quote me on this. But I talk about how if you add issimo to the end of a word, it sort of means like you're adding like very that word. So like I give them examples of like I'm hungry, or I'm hungrissimo means I'm very hungry, or I'm excited. I'm excitedissimo. I hopefully choose better examples than that in class. But I say that adding the issimo as a suffix makes that word a very that word. So we talk about if you have the word forte and you add issimo, fortissimo, that would mean very forte. And the same with piano. If you say piano, pianissimo, it means very piano, very quiet. And we go and we find them on the wall, and I say, actually, people have done that. Composers have done that. They took the word forte and they wrote fortissimo, and they have it right here. See, that's a word. It's on our word wall. Oh my gosh. Piano and pianissimo. Oh my gosh, it's on the word wall. Now, on the word wall, mezzo forte, mezzo piano should be in here, but I take them off for this week because we're going to talk about it next week. But I don't want them to be like, what's M? What's the M for? But in this lesson, we talked last week about abbreviating to just the F. So we talk about fortissimo. We talk about how there are two Fs in a row, which is like double F, double loud, or double P, double piano. And we talk about those abbreviations and what they mean, and pianissimo, and how loud and how quiet, and all of that. And then I get to do this fun example, and I say, I have to give you a test about these dynamics now and the abbreviations, but I'm worried. Repeat after me. And whatever I point to, that's how loud you have to do it. So I point to piano. And actually on the whiteboard, I have just the abbreviations. That right now I have the word wall cards, but the word wall cards are actually usually in the back of the room. Usually all kids are seeing is this, right? So I point to piano, I say, okay, repeat after me. And I use one of our school chants. I say, Woodstock Wildcats. And they'll go, Woodstock Wildcats. I go, okay, Woodstock Wildcats. Woodstock Wildcats. Again, okay, Woodstock Wildcats. Woodstock Wildcats. And then I point to this one and I go, Woodstock Wildcats, and they shout it, right? Or they're very loud. Okay, and so then I say, ugh, that was so loud, but I gotta give you another quiz. I know. And then I go, say, I love P.E. I love P.E. Good. Okay, so now say, I like art. I like art. And then I go, I love music. And I love music. Great. Okay. I love the tech lab. I love the tech. And I choose the other specials and I make them either be piano or pianissimo. And then I go for fortissimo for I love music, or I'm so glad I'm in music. I even do like, I wish I was in recess, and I make them do that pianissimo. And they think that's hilarious. But then also they demonstrate correctly pianissimo and fortissimo. So like ultimately, like I'm getting my goal and we're having a great time and they think it's funny. So what we're gonna do in the next and that's like 5 minutes at the beginning of class, right? And that's my like welcome. That's like our sort of catch bell work thing. It was I clap and they do it in different volumes. And over the last couple weeks, we've added in piano and forte. We did the abbreviations. Now we're doing fortissimo, pianissimo. Next week we're going to do mezzo, piano, mezzo, forte. And then we'll have basically the whole spectrum, and we'll get to play around with that in the next coming week. So it's just a fun way to add in that concept and to reinforce it. So now I can use those symbols or those words for the whole rest of the year, and hopefully they'll either remember or know where to look on the word wall to find it, or hopefully both, honestly. They'll be able to apply and they'll be able to find the answer. Okay, so that's 3, 4, and 5, and I do that for 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. Even if it's a refresher, it's a great refresher to have, but it also means that hopefully by the end of the next rotation, they'll have all the dynamics vocabulary in their head, how to use it, where to find it, all of that sort of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to jump into kindergarten. Let me just sort of run through really exactly how I do it. So when we come in, we do a line, and we do this silly little song from Orff Source Volume 2, which is a book by, a couple different people, but you can find it in West Music. It's on the links page. And the song goes, choo-choo train, copy me and do the same. Choo-choo train, woo, woo, stop. And we've been doing this since the first day of school for kindergarten. And so they're used to it. They follow me in a train. I'm the engine. I take them around. For the past 3 or 4 weeks, I've just been taking them in a circle around like the main circle carpet, right? And that's all we've done. In the last week, instead of taking them in a circle, I take them in different path around the room. We eventually end up in the circle, but along the way, we get to go by like the instrument wall, we go by the whiteboard, we go by all these different things. So they're getting like close to different stuff in the room, they're seeing different stuff in the room, and then we come back to the circle. In this lesson, I take them in a little circle, and like I'll just try and show you here. So like we do like a little route around the room, and then we circle back, and I cut through the end of the line. And it makes me think of that game that you used to be able to like play on your phone where you're like, oh no, if you cut through the worm, you like end the game or whatever. Well, it's hilarious to double back and be like, oh no, I'm gonna run into the train, what are we gonna do? And then like I just plow through and I like see what the kids do, and it's funny because they'll alternate, and they'll just like go through and they'll make it work, or they won't, and then we see how they troubleshoot. But it's so much fun to do. I think I did it with some of my classes in the last rotation. I do it with all the classes in this rotation just to see how they do, and usually it works out pretty well. So it's fun, so we sort of double back and cut in on each other, and that's a hoot. We end up in the circle. We do engine number 9, which again we've been doing since the first day of class. So we do the basic poem, engine number 9, going down Chicago line. See it sparkle, see it shine, engine number 9. And we do little silly actions. I added a B section that just goes choo, 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 choo. And really, the purpose of that was to add something to give us a way to cycle back to the poem. Over the last couple weeks, we've talked about how can I get you to stop and to know we're going to go back to the poem. So one of the things that we did as we're going choo, 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 I'll say, ready, stop, and they'll stop, right? And then we'll go back to the A section. Or in the last lesson, I said, I'm not going to say ready, stop, just watch. And we'll go choo, 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 choo. And I use a nonverbal signal. I hold up my hands. Or maybe I'll do choo, 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 and I'll like do a cutoff, some sort of swipe. Or maybe I'll go choo, 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 and like make a fist like I'm grabbing and stopping them. There are a lot of different ways, but I just use nonverbal signals to get them to stop so that they find a different way to stop. Then we do one more, and I pull out my train whistle, and we're going choo, 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 choo. And I play my train whistle, and that gets them to stop. And so in between each of these versions, we say the poem, we do the choo, choo, choo. We say the poem, we do the choo, choo, choo. And I stop them in different ways, nonverbal, words, train whistle, but all to like get them to know, to be watching, to stop together, to really focus in so that we're sort of melding together. And it's just a silly thing. It only takes 3 or 4 minutes, but it also means that from now on I can use gestures, I can use sounds to try and show them this is how we stop. And again, kindergarten at this point in the year is learning what it means to hold it and go to the bathroom only at certain times, or to walk in a line, or to not just shout out everything in your head. So it is valuable to take a little bit of time to go, when I go like this and hold out my hand, that means we're going to stop together. Or if I go doo 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 on the whistle, that means we're going to stop together. It's worth it to verbalize that and actually, take the time to talk about that. So we do choo choo train, we do engine number 9. Tabby, my cat, comes out. I talked a little bit about Tabby last time, and Tabby likes to interrupt me, And I talked last time about how Tabby interrupts me, and Tabby does different things. Tabby's a little bit silly. And then this leads to us doing the copycat poem. And we go, copycat, copycat, 1, 2, 3, do what I do after me. Anything I do, you do the same. That's how you play the copycat game. So Tabby sort of gets it, right? The first thing we do, well, actually Tabby doesn't quite get it. She still wants to interrupt me. So Tabby says, I need an example. Can you, what do you mean? Well, can you show me an example of this copying thing, of not interrupting, of waiting till you're done? Yeah, I can show you an example. Yeah, I can show you. Don't interrupt, just listen. Don't interrupt, just listen. Oh, okay. So she sits back, and with the kids, I say, we'll show Tabby. And I clap. And then they clap. And then or whatever. Back and forth, back and forth. Tabby gets in on the action, and we say the poem again, and then I say, Tabby, would you like to have the kids copy you? Me? Yes, you. What would I do? I don't know. Do something and see if the kids copy you. What can I do? And usually at some point a kid's like, and she goes, and the kids go, and so she does some humming things. This way, you do this 7 times, you get a little bored. So with one class I was like, and the kids would like do it. It was so funny to see their little actions that would go with Tabby. And then Tabby will use her tail and go whoop, and the kids use their finger and trace sounds. And it's just a fun, a way to get them to echo. We do patting, and then we move on. So the kids love Tabby. They think she's so fun. But again, Tabby is my intermediary. Tabby is doing the wrong thing or doing the silly thing to get the kids to understand what is the right thing. And so that's another way that puppets are so valuable, because they can take on that, Dr. Watson role in our classroom, and they can explain things or not understand things or wonder things, and that helps the kids learn. So we met Snowy the Owl in the last lesson, so Snowy comes back, and Snowy gets to sing a little song with the kids. Snowy, do you want to show everyone what song we sing? Okay, so let's sing our little song. Okay, Mr. Brow and I are going to sing a song. I'm going to sing one part, and he's going to sing back, so listen carefully. Okay, who are you? And I would respond, Mr. Rao. I'd use my singing voice. And she'd go, good job, high five. So she gets to sing, who are you? That's my job. Yeah, okay, you sing it. Let's show them again. Who are you? Mr. Rao, high five. So with the kids, I have Snowy flies up. They get to hold out their hand like a little branch of a tree, and she flies up and she sings, who are you? And the kids get to sing, and most of them do sing right to her. And they sing, Jalea. And she goes, great job, high five. And they give her a high five, or still say, wonderful, fist bump. And they'll give her a fist bump. Some kids, she'll go, great job, great big hug. And she'll fly in and give them a hug or whatever. They think that Snowy is so fun and so sweet. So it's actually amazing. Most of my kids will match pitch with her, or they will sing with her. And again, some kids who are too scared to sing to me, the teacher, will sing to a puppet with no problems. And so that's why Snowy gets to go and do it first. And she says, who are you? Because owls go, who, right? So she goes, who are you? And they sing back and forth, and it's just a fun little moment. And I go from kid to kid around the circle. They hold out their hand. She flies in. And then to get back up to her perch, the kids get to help her. She goes, I'm so tired, because owls are usually asleep at this time of day. Can you help me get back up to my perch? But Snowy, how can we help you? Can you sing me all the way up? You'll have to go, ooh, and as I fly up, you have to make your sound go up, and as I fly down, you make your sound go, ooh. So she flies around the room and flies up to her perch and gets back and sits down. And the kids get to sing as she flies up and down. So we're actually doing a lot of like vocal glides and exploration in this lesson, but worth it. So Snowy comes out and does that, and they love that. In the last lesson, we did a song from Lynn Kleiner's book, SOS Songs of the Sea, called Sandy Sand. And I gave kids egg shakers, and I said, there's sand inside the egg. Oh my gosh. And what we did in that lesson was, there are two parts really that kids did in the last lesson. They had the egg, and the first part of the song goes, you've got sand on your forehead, oh yeah. And the kids get to sing the oh yeah. And on the CD, they actually get to hear that. That's pretty fun. You got sand in your ear, oh yeah. You got sand on your shoulder, oh yeah. So I just demo with kids and I say, put the sand there. Oh, now take it off and go, oh yeah. And they get to sing back and forth. That takes us a couple minutes to sort of get the process of how that works, to figure out you put the sand there and then you sing. You put the sand there and then you sing. You put the sand there and then you sing. Songs like this are so valuable for English language learners because you're saying, put your sand on your shoulder, oh yeah, shoulder. Sand on your nose, oh yeah, nose. You know, you can sort of identify some of those body part vocabulary words. So the first part of the song is the singing back and forth and them singing the oh yeah. And then there's the part that goes, gotta shake, 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 shake it off now. So you're shaking sand, right? But you're shaking your egg shaker as you do it. So the kids are shaking their bodies. They think that's so fun. And they're shaking the egg at the same time, which they think is like super fun, right? So what we add in this lesson that's a little bit different is there's actually like sort of a preamble to the song. And it goes, I love the beach, it's so much fun. Us play all day till there's no more sun. And when I come home, my mama says to me, sand, 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 baby, can't you see? There's sand over here, there's sand over there. Sandy, sandy, sandy all around. And again, this is not something I'm asking the kids to sing. What I have them do is I say, oh man, that part of the song is so much fun. Maybe we can keep a beat while that part of the song goes on. I'll sing it, you keep the beat with me. I love the beach, it's so much fun. And they've got an egg in their hands, so they're keeping the beat with the egg, right, as I'm singing the song. We're introducing how to use steady beat while a song is happening. And so that just is about 30 seconds of the song, but it's super fun for them, and they get to bring it in. And then we get to you got sand on your forehead, and they go in to do all of that. A couple tricks about using the eggs. I have these eggs. They're Latin Percussion eggs. That's the brand. They come in 6 colors. And so what I do is I say, you know what? I've got so many eggs. And everyone's going to get an egg, which is great. You may not get your favorite color, but let me show you the colors. There's this color, which is... And I wait and I let them say it. Because one of the things that they have in doing in their room is like identifying colors. So I wait for them to say it. This color is... They want to say, pink. Pink, you're right, it's pink. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? There's this color egg. Yellow. Yeah, great. Okay. Then there's this color egg. Purple. Wonderful. So we go through, we identify, and I say, before I hand them out, you make a little nest for your egg, and I'll come drop an egg in your nest. You might get pink, you might get blue, you might get red. Whatever color you get what you get. Don't be upset, because you're going to get an egg. It's going to be so much fun. And some kids are like, if you get what you get, don't throw a fit. I'm like, that doesn't rhyme. So I say, you get what you get. Don't be upset. And I stole that from my friend Dina Byers, who lives in North Carolina. She said that at my ORF level, and I was like, yeah, it doesn't rhyme when you say it the other way. So I forever have now said, you get what you get. Don't be upset. And so we just go on, we get our egg, we do our shake-in, it's fun. We run through the song then, where we keep the steady beat with the egg in our hand. We put the egg in different places and sing back, and then we shake it off, and then we put it in different places, and we sing it and we shake it off. Lynn Kleiner, in her book, if you get SOS Songs of the Sea, has some of the information about that lesson, and then also has a CD accompaniment that goes along with it, which is super fun to sing with, and the kids really get into it. So, like I said, we did that in the last lesson. What we're adding in this lesson is the steady beat, more control over the egg shakers, and just another chance to do it and sing. and have fun with it. So they put the eggs away, and I say, if you hear me say the color of the egg you're holding, you're going to put the egg away and then come sit with me. So listen for your egg color, put away, then come sit with me. So I go, all the blue eggs or whatever, and they go put away eggs and come sit with me. The green eggs, they come and sit with me. And the last thing we do is I say, I have a very good friend who I want you to meet, but don't be scared. He's a bear. And I'm sitting on my green chair, and I say, it's not this. This is my friend Teddy. Right. Teddy is a bear. He's a very, very nice bear. And if you ever have a time when you're in my classroom and you trip or get hurt, or you're sad, you can sit in this comfy green chair and you can hold Teddy if you want. But Teddy, that's not the bear you're going to meet. I do take the 10 seconds to introduce Teddy the bear, so that then when there is a boo-boo time, they can actually come and squeeze Teddy, right? So they know the procedure. But I set Teddy down and say, but actually the bear you're going to meet is a different kind of bear. And he gets very excited. He's not mean. He's very nice, but he gets very excited. So if he's a little bit loud, I wanted to prepare you. Okay, so here he is. Hello! Grizzly. I'm sorry, that's way too loud, Grizzly. Oh, sorry. I was just very excited. Yeah. And so, Grizzly, I'm so glad you're here, because a couple weeks ago we met Peter the rabbit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he taught us about speaking voice. Yeah, speaking voice. That's the voice you use when you're in the classroom or at home or at Kroger. Yeah, that's the voice you use. And then we met Flitter the butterfly, who taught us about whisper voice. Yeah, whisper. That's a great voice, because we use that when people are sleeping or if you want to be very quiet. But that's not the voice I'm here to talk about. No, I know you're not here to talk about that voice. Last time we met Snowy the owl, and she taught us about singing voice, singing voice. Yes, you used your singing voice when you got choo-choo train, choo-choo train. You used your singing voice. Yeah, we used our singing voice. Yeah, but that's not the voice I'm here to talk about. Yeah, I know, you're here to talk about a different voice. What voice are you here to talk about? I'm here to talk about the loudest of the voices. So this is a shtick that I've done for the past 3 weeks with kids. And each puppet introduces one of the voices. I did a whole video about this and blog post about this. But Grizzly is the bear, and he gets to teach kids about their shouting voice, their calling voice, whatever you call it at your school. But what Grizzly doesn't like is that I don't let him use that voice, because our rules are you can only use your shouting voice outside, in the gym with permission, or inside if there's really an emergency. Well, I want to say it. It's an emergency. No, that's not what an emergency means. What if I needed someone to open my carton of milk? Could I use this voice? No, that's not a real emergency. You need help, but that's not an emergency. What if I needed someone to tie my shoe? Is that an emergency? No, that's not an emergency. But if you were hurt, or if someone you knew was hurt, then that would be an emergency. So I can't use the voice? No, you can't. Then how am I going to tell them about it? Well, you could use your speaking voice to tell them the name. That's not very fun. So eventually, he tricks me, the teacher, into turning around, and he says to the kids, okay, you're going to say it with me. We're going to say, it's your shouting voice. And we're going to use our shouting voices, okay? No, okay, so when Mr. Rao comes around, don't tell him. All right. So then I come back, and they get to say, it's your shouting voice. So it's a really fun time. Grizzly gets to shout with the kids. There's a little poem that they've been learning that they get to shout with Grizzly, and they have a great time with it. And Grizzly is basically how we end the day. And then I say, actually, I have to use my singing voice for our lineup song. So I'm not going to use my shouting voice. I'm going to use my singing voice. But let's see. We can go over the voices. When we get into line, one of the things my school does is we have voice levels. So level 1 is whisper, level 2 is speaking, level 3 is presentation, level 4 is shouting. And we can talk about how those relate to the voices we learned from the puppets. And it's a fun sort of recap if we have a couple minutes in line. So that's the super quick run through of my kindergarten lessons. If you have questions about any of those things, like I said, almost all of what I talked about tonight is on the links page, which you can find if you go to makemomentsmatter.org, click on the tab that says video, and then the 2019-2020 Musical Mondays recap page is where all those links are. Today was week 6. Next week, I'm not going to be here because I'm going to be in Iowa. It's my fall break. I'm going to be with my sister and brother-in-law and my nephews. So I'm not going to be here next week, but I'll be back in 2 weeks. And I hope you'll join me on September 30th for another Musical Mondays video. In between now and then, I'm going to post some more fun things that I hope are helpful. But if you ever have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. join us on the Facebook group, Every Moment Matters Music Education Community. Ask your questions there, or send me an email if you want. My email is makemomentsmatter@gmail.com. And if you're in Little Rock, come join us this Saturday for a workshop with the Central Arkansas Orph chapter. I hope you will. It's going to be so much fun. Okay, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks so much for spending your Monday night with me. I really appreciate it. Have a great night, everyone. My Facebook. See ya. Have a great night.